who is the famous film star from Trivandrum who is involved with Swapna Suresh and caused a lot of trouble in her life? What were the functions and activities happening behind the scenes in a famous club in Trivandrum that negatively influenced lives of people like Swapna Suresh? Why did Swapna convert her religion to Islam and take the name Mumtaz Ismail? What was the real reason behind her fake degree certificate that caused a lot of controversies? What actually happened in the gold smuggling case? These are some of the contentious questions that will be discussed in this review. This video is a review of one of the most controversial and discussed Malayalam books that got published recently. It is written by Swapna Suresh, one of the prime suspects in the gold smuggling case that took the political scenario in Kerala by storm. It is the current books Thrissur that published this book. The 2020 Kerala gold smuggling case was about 30 kilograms of 24-carat gold, worth around 15 crores, caught by the customs at Trivandrum airport from a diplomatic bag that was destined to be delivered to UAE consulate. This book can be divided into two halves. The first half tells more about the personal life of the author and the difficulties she faced in her childhood and teenage life. The second half deals with the gold smuggling case and the people behind it. This book is divided into 13 chapters and has some never before seen personal photos of the author's life. What are the key concepts discussed in this book? Discriminations that a female child has to bear in an Indian family. In the first chapter itself, the author is discussing about many problems like the discrimination female children are suffering on the basis of color and sex in a family. It will be easy for many readers to connect with the problems discussed by the author here, as many of us are accustomed to facing such discrimination in an Indian family. What is the best gift you can give your child? This memoir teaches us that parenting is the most important gift that parents can bestow upon their children. We will be shocked to see the mistreatment she had to suffer from her family, especially her uncle. When a teacher told her that she looked pretty, her uncle flabbergastingly corrected it by saying that the teacher might have actually meant patti, which means dog in Malayalam, and not pretty. It is sad to see her whole family considering her a bad omen to her family. Why are women considered homemakers in families? We can see Swapna mentioning that her mother considered girls homemakers and that cooking is one of the most important skills women should learn. This is one of the biggest problems that almost all families in the world face today. In the earlier hunter-gatherer society, men were the hunter due to their extra physical strength, and women used to cook food. But it is absurd to continue this practice even now when both men and women have equal roles in the family. This concept of homemaker is beautifully dissected by the author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie in her book We Should Be All Feminists. She says in her book that take cooking for example. Today women in general are more likely to do housework than men, cooking and cleaning. But why is that? Is it because women are born with a cooking gene, or because over the years they have been socialized to see cooking as their role? I was going to say that perhaps women are born with a cooking gene until I remembered that the majority of famous cooks in the world who are given the fancy title of chef are men. Why do some girls trust strangers so much? The family's lack of love and care will force teenage girls to trust strangers. We can see how Swapna got into trouble for this reason multiple times in her life. She discusses how she nearly lost her life because she trusted a priest and decided to elope to Hyderabad from the Middle East to become a nun. The importance of having childhood friends. It is scientifically proven by various studies that childhood friendships will help certain children to learn how to respect and respond to other people's opinion, how to have a good conversation with others, how to understand whether a person's intention is good or bad from their behavior, what constitutes age appropriate behavior. We can see how the lack of true friendship badly affected all these aspects of Swapna's teenage life. How should you react when the people close to us in the family are calling us worthless? The term useless or bad omen to the family was the biggest obstacle she faced in her childhood life. If she had understood the concept that your worth is determined by no one else but you, she wouldn't have landed up in all these troubles in her life. It is sad to see that there was no one in her life to tell her this concept. Dowry. It was despairing to see the author's parents spending 5 kilos of gold and many other things for her marriage. Instead of investing some of that money in her education, they were more eager for their daughter's wedding even before she was 20 years old. She describes all the problems that the dowry system causes in a young lady's life. Tumultuous marital life. One of the most shocking books about a tumultuous marital life I read in Malayalam was ഇതെൻ്റെ രക്തമാണ് ഇതെൻ്റെ മാംസമാണ് എടുത്തുകൊള്ളുക by Echumukuti. We can see similar vibes in the author's marital life described in this book. What was the biggest mistake committed by Swapna Suresh in her life? On page 51, Swapna comments about the biggest mistake she committed in her life. She says that her decision to come to Trivandrum along with a famous film actor from Trivandrum based upon his promises was the biggest mistake she committed in her life. It was at this point that her life turned upside down. She doesn't mention the actor's name, but we will get many clues about him when we read this book. Why did Swapna Suresh convert her religion to Islam? In this portion, she discusses about many visa problems to sponsor female children that single mothers are facing in Qatar. The author discusses many complicated reasons why she became Mumtaz Ismail. Are recreational clubs causing more trouble than joy in people's life? This is yet another area in this book that can become controversial. She even mentions the name of a famous club in Trivandrum and the problems she had to face due to the many functions and activities in this club. Gold smuggling case. It is on page 76 at the halfway mark of this book that the author discusses the controversial gold smuggling case. She tells more deeply about her relationship with Shivashankar IAS and how she became a convict in the controversial case. What is Coffee Posa Detenu? Coffee Posa Detenu is a term that repeats multiple times in this book. It means Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act 1974. It is mainly for preventing and curbing the smuggling activities. It provides for administrative detention for a period of up to 6 months. What are the other important topics discussed in this book? The second half has many topics discussed by the author. Some of the controversial topics discussed are political controversies, Sharjah IT Hub, misuse of consulate links, Life Mission project, Carbon Doctor, frisking free related issues, Space Park project, K-phone, Sprinkler, gold smuggling case, fake degree certificate controversy, COVID contracts, customs related controversies, NIA related controversies. All these topics are discussed in detail by the author. I request you to read this book if you are interested to know more about it. I can't discuss more about it as there will be spoilers that hinders the reading experience for those who have not read this book yet. What I didn't like in this book. On the first page itself, Swapna is saying that she has written nothing more than what is in the 164 she gave to the court. If you are someone who has been closely following news related to these events, you will understand that there is not much new information in the latter half of this book, as the author tells as a disclaimer in the initial part itself. She focuses more on the relationship with Shivashankar than the main case. This might disappoint a few readers who grabbed a copy to learn some never before revealed information through this book. But we can't deny the fact that the author won't be able to write any new information about the case that is still in court. We can see the author contrasting herself in just a span of 3 pages in one area of this book. On page 51, she says that she got 1 kg of gold back after her divorce. On page 54, she says that she didn't receive anything after her divorce. I think she metaphorically mentioned empty handed in the latter case, but it causes confusion in the minds of the readers. I was wondering whether I was reading a nihilistic book due to the extreme negative versions of the people caricatured in it. Still, the author managed to bring some rays of hope amid the whole pandemonium as a consolation. In a couple of areas in this book, we can see the author racially lambasting the Somalian people. When she sees her daughter in a malnourished state, we can see her saying that her daughter looks like a Somalian child. I don't appreciate racist slurs like this in any book I read, especially in the books written in this 21st century. We can also see some silly typo errors that should have been obviously avoided. Now, coming to the rating of this book. This will be a difficult book to rate as the first and second half seems like two different books. I mainly read this book for the second half to learn more about the controversies, but surprisingly, I like the first half more. Even though the language is simple and appears too casual at times, the first half is a well-written one. She discusses many crucial topics that need profound discussion too. I will give 4 out of 5 ratings for the first half. The second half was pretty disappointing. We won't get much new information from here as we expect to get from this book. I can give only 2 out of 5 for the second half. The overall rating for this book is 3 out of 5. I still recommend this book because of the many important topics discussed by the author that requires deeper contemplation in the initial half of the book. Please keep in the back of your mind that this is not a political memoir but a personal memoir with only a few political elements. I don't know whether all the events mentioned in this book are correct to impugn the originality of it. I also don't think that this book is a panacea to answer all the doubts that crept in our minds due to the gold smuggling case. I still appreciate the impeccable and inexorable courage shown by the author to write such a book instead of falling into a life of shame and ignominy after such a devastating case. She also gives a hint that this book will have a second part in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video.